What makes a hero unstoppable? Sheer willpower, off-the-charts powers and abilities? Who decides?
Well, in this case, we do.
Welcome back, Nerd Squad. It's me, Amanda.
And I'm Adam, and today we'll be counting down the part 2 of our top 10 Marvel superheroes who cannot be stopped.
Who do you think will take our #1 spot? Guess! We dare you. Guess in the comments.
You're not gonna guess.
You're not gonna guess it. Number 10, Dazzler. Dazzler might not rank high on most people's unstoppable lists, but I know what Allison Blair can do, and honestly, it's pretty impressive. Even though she constantly attempts to distance herself from the world of heroism, when called upon to protect the Earth, she happens to be one of the most capable and undefeatable heroes out there. She's gone up against Hulk, Enchantress, and even crossed paths with Galactus and lived to tell the tale, often defeating many of the opponents who are seemingly unstoppable themselves that she comes up against.
Number 9, Rogue. Marvel Comics' Rogue is an unstoppable force and one of the most formidable mutants, although you might not think so at first. With the ability to absorb the memories, powers, and abilities of anyone she touches, or after an enhancement, even those at range, Rogue has the potential to become a living powerhouse capable of mimicking the skills of her allies and enemies alike. This makes her an unpredictable and adaptive combatant, as she can utilize an ever-expanding arsenal of powers in battle. Some of these abilities have been momentary, and some, like the abilities of Miss Marvel, Sunfire, and most recently, Wonder Man, have stayed permanently for one reason or another. Also, thanks to an update in her powers, she can now fully control her power, meaning that she can totally take your power without taking your full life force, or if she did take your life force, it would be because she wants to make you suffer. So that's scary. Additionally though, Rogue's superhuman strength, speed, and durability grant her an advantage in physical confrontations. However, her powers come with a heavy burden, the risk of absorbing the life force of others, potentially leading to them becoming comatose, and sometimes, due to a power boost or because of a situation, their demise. This complex aspect of her abilities adds depth to the character, highlighting the emotional struggles she faces in trying to control her gift, and it makes relationships particularly difficult. Whether fighting alongside the X-Men or as a solo hero, Rogue's resilience and adaptability and the sheer potential of her power has made her someone that you just can't overlook.
Number 8, Hope Summers. What if you could be like Rogue, but instead of initially having to touch people or later on get them within a close range, you just had to be somewhere nearby them. And instead of having to train with said powers to figure them out, you were just straight up a master. And instead of having to be able to overcome your own fears to gain more control over your abilities, so you didn't accidentally, drain someone of their life energy or their memories, you just never really had to worry about any of that. Well then, you'd be Hope Summers. While definitely a less complex character in terms of her powers adding an inherent depth through being limited or flawed in some way, Hope is still definitely a powerhouse. And what she lacks in power set depth, she makes up for in weird time travel story depth. Being the adopted daughter of Cable and the original mutant Messiah, one of the first mutants to be born after Scarlet Witch wiped out most of the mutants with her powers by speaking the words "no more mutants." Hope Summers is a member of Krakoa's 5 and is probably the most valuable member on that team, considering how versatile she is.
Number 7, Doctor Strange. Sorcerer Supreme Dr. Stephen Strange's magical feats are almost unmatched by any other. He is among the most adept magic user in the multiverse and has shown it many times. In fact, when he first came on the scene, and for a long while, he was capable of doing pretty much anything he wanted to with any spell. It got to the point that Marvel even decided to depower him so that he could have more compelling stories. As for some of his feats, even after being depowered, he has passed a test in which he accepted death, which meant he now no longer ages and is kind of immortal. His energy blasts are capable of destroying moons and planets. He has mastered the words of the Black Priests, allowing him to distort reality at one point. He frequently calls on the divine empowerment and extra-dimensional energy of mystical and non-mystical beings across multiple dimensions in order to power his spells, which most magic users do, but he just does it better. He is the defender of reality, and that is a title that does not come lightly. I feel like the camera's like a tiny bit higher in here, so I'm like, oh shit, it's up there.
You look up.
Look up.
How do you think I feel? Number 6, Spider-Man. Spider-Man has to be one of the most unstoppable heroes around when it comes to Marvel Comics. Sure, he might not be as powerful as some of the heroes on this list when it comes to their comparative power sets, but in his own lane, Peter is pretty much just a straight up unstoppable. And he has one of the strongest willpowers of all of the heroes in the Marvel Universe that I know of. Even when it seems like he cannot win the day, he often manages to find a way to save the people he's sworn to protect, and often that he also knows and loves. He's pulled off feats of strength that seemed impossible, even for him with his extremely enhanced physiology. And in the MCU, he even managed to stand up to Doctor Strange in No Way Home, which, considering how powerful Doctor Strange is, I think is pretty impressive.
Number 5. Moondragon. Heather Douglas is actually one of the most powerful human-born telepaths in existence. She gained this power after she trained under the Shaolin monks of Titan, thanks to Thanos' father mentor taking her in. Her telepathic abilities rival and surpass even those of powerful mutants like Professor X. With this power, she was able to make an entire planet subservient to her. She has been in a psionic stalemate with the Sorcerer Supreme, and she's even straight up de-lifed a clone of Thanos who, at the time, had even greater mental powers than Professor X. Her powers are so powerful, in fact, that they can maintain themselves subconsciously, meaning that even if she is unconscious, she will maintain the effects of said powers. A huge part of her character, even the reason for her awesome Moondragon name, comes from the fact that she is or was actually under the influence of an extremely powerful entity known as the Dragon of the Moon, who has been manipulating her for a long time, even initially letting Heather believe she had overcome the demon. But thanks to this dragon, she has been able to take on a dragon form where she could move faster than light, survive in space, and was super strong and durable. Unfortunately, she isn't always a good guy.
Number 4. Nova. Nova is by far one of the most powerful superheroes we have in the cosmos, and yet a lot of people seem to forget about him. When it comes to which Nova we're talking about, I'm going to focus more on Richard Rider for this point, but honestly both he and Sam are pretty amazing. Richard, however, has more experience, so I think that makes him a more unstoppable force. Even when facing Annihilus, Nova could not be beaten. Nova is also one of the few to win in a fight against Thanos, getting some help from Star-Lord, who is wielding a partially charged cosmic cube, which also basically implied that Nova was as powerful himself as a partially charged cosmic cube, just all on his own. Physically, Nova didn't have to sacrifice himself in this fight, but just in terms of him basically being cut off from the rest of the cosmos for a while, he did have to do that, as he ended up being trapped in the Cancerverse alone, which honestly, surviving that is also a feat all its own.
Number 3. Legion. David Haller, the estranged son of Charles Xavier, is a very powerful mutant. He is also quite unique in the huge gallery of already unique Marvel mutants. David has hundreds and hundreds of mutant powers that each belong to a separate persona in his head. Each persona can be good or bad. For the purpose of our video though, there are several personas of David that come to mind. The first is straight up the Legion, which he describes as quote, real me, and has been called a god mutant by the mutant magic. The Legion is able to both warp reality to his will and manipulate time, which he did to create the Age of Apocalypse and eliminate the Elder Gods of Limbo. Then there is the Weaver, who is a big old brightly lit spider-like creature that has the ability to change, morph, and otherwise refabricate reality itself. But it's one of the only personas that he can neither coax into his service nor assimilate with. There is also X, or Moira, that takes the form of Moira McTaggart and was able to best Professor X in psychic battle and warp reality, single-handedly creating the Age of X, where David would be seen as a hero, and placed herself as the mother of David. The personality Time Sync can manipulate the flow of time, pausing time, freezing people in time, and showing people memories of their own troubled past. And then there is my favorite, the Origamiist, a massive sumo wrestler who can bend and warp the fabric of space. He has been used only once so far, when Legion was in danger from an explosion, and he used the Origamist to fold the explosion away into a separate dimension and teleport away from the scene. And that is insane.
Adam, when you put Legion on this list and you picked Legion, I was like, who will I put above this person? Speaking of that, number 2, Wiccan. Wiccan is the son of Scarlet Witch. Well, the son of Scarlet Witch in spirit. If you've seen WandaVision, you likely know about Scarlet Witch's 2 twin sons. In the comics, they also exist, but like in the MCU, were only made possible because of Wanda's reality warping powers. As such, they end up being wiped away, with Wanda being made to forget that they ever existed. This is supposedly done for her own good and for everyone else's safety besides. In the comics, Scarlet Witch though later remembers her children, causing her to have a mental break, and then House of M happened. However, after all that was said and done, it was revealed that her children had returned via reincarnation. Wiccan is one of her 2 spiritual sons and has inherited his mom's magical skills and abilities. Like his mom, Wiccan uses magic to warp reality, and there are even some timelines where he ends up as the Sorcerer Supreme in the future.
And in at number 1 today is the Silver Surfer. Marvel Comics' Silver Surfer is an unstoppable cosmic force, wielding powers beyond comprehension. He is one of the most powerful beings in the universe, gifted with the power cosmic by the world-devouring Galactus. Surfer possesses a level of strength rivaled by very few that has allowed him to do things like crush diamonds and toss away dwarf stars. He has near invulnerability, and on the low chance that he does get hurt, he can heal it almost instantly. And the ability to manipulate cosmic energy at will, which grants him a whole list of other abilities and augmentations. His surfboard grants him the power of flight without expending his own energies, and allows him to travel faster than the speed of light, like he has traveled light years in a second. As the Herald of Galactus, Silver Surfer has navigated the far reaches of the universe, facing unimaginable threats and challenges. His mastery over cosmic energy allows him to project devastating energy blasts and construct force fields capable of withstanding almost any attack. On top of that, his connection to the power cosmic grants him virtually limitless cosmic knowledge and awareness. And yet, despite his immense power, Silver Surfer grapples with his conscience and carries the burden of past deeds done in service to Galactus. This inner conflict adds depth to the character, making him a complex and relatable figure in the Marvel Universe. With his cosmic abilities, unwavering sense of justice, and a desire to atone for his past, Silver Surfer remains an indomitable force in the cosmic landscape, protecting the universe from unimaginable threats. And that's all the time we got for today.
Thanks so much for checking us out here on Top 10 Nerd. I'm Amanda McKnight.
And I'm Adam Andrews, and we'll catch you nerds on the Flippy Flop.
Stay nerdy. Bye.
Bye.